Hello everybody, it's Max McAllister here today to go over and give you the full overview of our 2021 Honda Goldwing Mega Build project, which we've named the Warhorse. The owner is here and we've done our presentation. This is kind of part two of that series, but I'm back to being Max, and we're gonna now I'm gonna try and just start at the front, hit as many of the details as I can. So hopefully don't leave too much out, but you'll kind of get the general gist. This is the dossier from this project, which has been more than 3 months in progress and 2.5 months of work. I logged 216 hours of labor myself personally on this bike. So this for sure is the biggest ticket that's ever been written around here for a motorcycle. The whole motorcycle was coated by a company called the Buff Guys in Alpharetta, Georgia, with Expel paint protection film. It's a film that is self-healing, so it fixes scratches, nicks, and dings into the coating itself. So all it needs is to be exposed to warmth and heat and sunlight, and it will self-heal. Those guys did super exceptional detail work, preserving the Honda matte finish in the center and the gloss finish on the side. They have a special film called Stealth from Expel that's matte in finish. So they actually hand cut and trimmed that seam. That's 2 films meeting together on the seam. So really spectacular work. This is a long ride shield that was coated on both sides. So this should theoretically never be scratched. Of course, we're gonna see several Traxxion edition badges along the way from our company here. This obviously is a very limited edition motorcycle. The most limited edition of which get this particular badge on the side. The Traxxion edition, those are custom made with wings all facing backwards. There's a left and right specific. Down here on the front, we have turn signal lights, marker lights. They actually work as turn signals as well. Oh
my God.
So all right, so they work as turn signals as well. Let me turn to the left so you can see. So these actually flash from the side, those lights there. Clearwater lighting system. So these are the new Super Savina lights, and these are the Darla lights. The lenses, these are protective boots. These are protective boots. You can put a clear or yellow lens in. This is a polycarbonate lens that makes it virtually impossible for a rock or stone to ever break the primary lens. These were slathered in Clearwater logos all the way around, and it looked like you're advertising for NASCAR, so I sanded all that off of these because I didn't want, it looked offensive to me, so much logo all over these bezels, so I took that off. The Buff Guys also coated the lenses, the polycarbonate lenses, to make sure that they stayed as nice as possible. The Darla mounts were custom made by a slick way I found here to cut a notch into the mount to back them up. I did have to twist the bracket outward a little bit because they basically just kind of made a little blob here in the middle. So I splayed the brackets a little bit, and now they make a nice beam out to each side of the bike. Up in here, we've got Kuryakyn tie downs and the Gold Strike tie down kits. That makes it super fast to tie down the bike. This is the first bike I've had both brackets on, and I tied this bike down to tow it to the coating shop, and it was so fast and so easy to do. I loved it. On the side here, I'll show you the switching setup for the lighting. I plumbed it, wired it with a switch to turn the whole system on. It doesn't come that way from Clearwater, but I thought you should be able to turn the whole system on or off. This switch is for the Savina lighting, and this is for a rheostat for the lighting system. The lights are plumbed in, so when you go to the high beam, everything goes to full brightness on the Clearwater and that. If you are cruising along, watch your horn here. If you hit your horn,
it's got a horn too.
All the lighting goes to full brightness when you hit the horn. These are also sequential turn signals. By the way, this isn't scripted and this is going to take a while. So if you're in a hurry, this video will probably be 15 minutes or so. We also have these cowl lights that we installed here. They're actually quite bright. They go around the sides. This is a 2001 to 17 the Farkle shelf from Fire Creek Accessories. It's been massively modified to fit this bike. That's completely custom. There isn't another one like it in the world. Went to great lengths to make it extremely rigid. The owner did not want this bolted to the windshield, which is how they did it on other bikes. He wanted it mounted to the dash. That was a very big project. I had to take this bike together and apart 15 times plus to get all the spacing, everything correct so that nothing would ever touch. And then wiring everything in and hiding the wires was a lot of time and a lot of effort. These are Kuryakyn Omni highway pegs. We went through tremendous grief getting those mounted. They have a lot of problems with them, and Kuryakyn has temporarily pulled them from production while they get their problems sorted out. This is Electrical Connections cylinder head covers. Really nice product that hides all the mud and muck and that collects when you get dirt and water here on the engine cooks it on the cylinder head, and it just looks like crap forever. This plate covers that area. It's still ugly underneath, but you can't see it, so it's much better. We did a custom job of installing the clear water harness in the bike, where we actually removed the whole headlight and everything from the bike so that it could be properly installed. The badging and logos you'll see on the bike was something I went to great lengths to do. I was after a very subtle appearance. I didn't want it to be offensive or sticking out in any way. So we went for black letters with just a subtle gray outline so that even from 20 feet away, you might not even be able to read what it says. We were going for a very subtle approach with that. Of course, we've got our owner's name here, Captain Chuck Marble, on the bike. You'll see Chuck Travel in America. Later, I'll provide you with links and such for him and his journey. You'll be able to track him as he travels on his mission. We installed a TPX laser jamming system. These are the transponders that face forward to sense if you've got radar aimed at you. If they do, they'll jam that signal, and then the system after 3 seconds will turn itself off so that it mitigates it gives you a chance to roll off the throttle and resume a safe speed. If you're doing 80 miles an hour or whatever, you can roll off the throttle in 3 seconds, slow down, and you won't get ticketed. So kind of a cool device. Front and rear facing camera system, which I'll show you later, the control module where we've hidden all that stuff. But this just constantly records 3-minute loops, and there's a button on the side that allows you to push the button, press it, and it will give you a high-resolution photograph front and rear at that moment in time. And the system works, if you hold the button down for 3 seconds, it will lock in the 3-minute video loop that it's on at that moment, so it can't be erased. So if there's something significant you wanted to save, you can lock that section of video in. These are Kuryakyn's side air deflectors. A really pretty nice product, a nice integral look and fit. I like it. There's a couple of little drawbacks to it. One, they have a kind of a rattle at either extreme. So I just got these little kitchen rubber bumpers and attached them there so that when it touched, it wouldn't make any sound. The plastic against plastic wouldn't make any sound. The only other thing is these are stuck to the bike. So anytime you have to take the upper fairings off, you basically kind of have to rip the tape off. So that's a pain in the butt, but overall it's the nicest fitting and finishing air deflectors that I've seen. I think they're really pretty cool. We did our fuel door modification to this to allow, these fuel doors are kind of infamous for failing to open when you push the button to get to your fuel door. And if it does that, you have to break the door. So we have a little trick where we drill a hole in this and then put a cap. So if your door ever fails to open, you can just pry the cap off and stick anything in there, an ink pen or whatever, and pop the door open. These are Kuryakyn's driver floorboards. They look great, nice. The finish matches the bike. All that is really, really nice. An adjustable tip on the brake lever, which is nice, is pretty cool. That's our dipstick extender here. And this is a video I'll have coming out, but this is the only chrome part on the whole bike. Absolutely looked like somebody took a crap on the side of the bike. I don't know who did that at Honda, but we blacked that out so that it would match the bike and not look ridiculous. The owner wanted redundant navigation, so he's got the latest Garmin Zumo XT here, which we've mounted, and is very quick and easy to put on and take off. If you kind of put the camera here, you'll be able to see, you can see stock Honda navigation, cell phone, and the Garmin all clearly without either of them interfering with each other. These are visual indicator lights for the laser jamming and radar systems. I arrange those with my own mnemonic device. Left is laser, right is radar. This is also a TPX radar detector, and it obviously also detects laser as well, forward and backward. So that's on a Traxxion Dynamics radar detector mount, so it's out and has a clear view forward of the road and backwards, so from the driver's arms not interfering, so that the sensors all can pick up. This device is called a Bad Elf, which collects GPS signals and amplifies it and shares it with the devices on the bike, so that if you're in areas of weak GPS reception, they'll never be without a proper connection. For display purposes, I've got this off just because it's easier to see, but there is a Gold Strike big ass cup holder, so that the owner can carry his fluid while he's riding. This is a Spot X GPS tracker. This is a big part of his trip. So he's able to log and create a path of his entire adventure. And also, if something bad should ever happen, it has an SOS button that will send the cavalry coming to save his butt. So he wanted a magnetic tank bag. He wanted to have a tank bag, and he wanted it to be magnetic. So problem presented there is, of course, there's no metal on a Honda Goldwing. So I devised a way. He found the perfect size tank bag. He had sent me one that was too big, and I said it's got to be smaller because otherwise you won't be able to get to the buttons on the console. He found this beautiful bag from Sedici, and its name, I forget the name of it, but it's the smaller one they sell. I made a few mods to this. The handle was kind of floppy and flopped around on the console, so I made a few tiny holes, and I've got some zip ties here that hold the floppy handle up. You can still carry it as a handle. It still works, it's just not floppy anymore, so I fixed that up the way I liked it. They also had some little things to zip tie it to itself here. I cut those off because he's not going to be using those, and it looked ugly flopping around on the side. So, and then I devised this system here of plates that match the magnets, and so you can literally just place the bag. It's quite secure, but if you want to take it off, you just grab it and go. These are plates were water jet cut by Perfect Edge here in Atlanta, and then they were powder coated by Miller's Powder Coating. And just for trivia, if you will notice there's a little hole in them. You say, why is there a little hole in the plates? They had to have some way to hold them while they powder coat them. So we had to put a tiny hole so that you could pass a wire through, so that we could actually, otherwise there's no way to powder coat them. I added a custom fuel lanyard in here for from Electrical Connection. This is their product, but I came up with my own way of mounting it for the 2021 bike. So I'll have a video on that, how I did that on another day on it for 2021. So there's a lanyard on that cap so it can't be lost. In the glove box, let me get my iPod out because we were making horsey sounds while we were introducing the bike. So this glove box is fitted with the Electrical Connection cooling fan, which you probably can't see. It's been heat wrapped, drilled with exhaust holes. And so inside here is the brain system for the laser jamming controller. And this is the head unit for the camera system. And it's got a micro SD card in it, which you can readily change from the top easily. So we have an assortment of those set up for him. So this has heat shielding, fan, duct. Should be a very, very cool box in there. And for these electronics will be good and safe. I spoke with TPX, and they said their unit was designed to take extreme heat, so they were not concerned at all about having the laser jamming brain in that area, because I had told them about people's concerns with heat. So we've hopefully this is the coolest box out there. This bike is fitted with Handlebars SST Horizon handlebar kit. These are extremely and virtually infinitely adjustable, in multiple directions. So that should make it so that you can tune your fit very, very comfortably for the driver. These are Gold Strike aftermarket grips. They actually do feel nice and comfortable. They have a flatness shape to them that sort of makes it easier when you're gripping it to roll the throttle on and off. These handlebars created one small problem. We put a factory Honda line CB on the bike, and with these handlebars you couldn't fit the switch system, so we designed and manufactured a new part to go in there to hold the CB switches in the proper orientation, because Handlebars didn't have a part at the time. So they are going to start buying that part from us and offering it to their customers that they have. This has an electrical connection DCT Interlock on it, which makes it impossible to drive off with the parking brake on. If you have a DCT and you haven't ridden off with the parking brake on, you will, but you probably already have, and you already know it. So there's a nice kit you can put on from Electrical Connection, and I could take credit for the idea, but I just turned it over to Lewis, and Lewis at Electrical Connection did the work. But basically I said you should just tie something into the side stand safety switch system. So on a Goldwing, if your side stand is down and you go to put the bike in gear, it just won't go into gear. You push D here, nothing happens, okay? So if you side stand is up, the bike will go into gear. All right, so we're back in neutral. So watch, when I pull the parking brake now, this is tied into that system. I try and put the bike in gear, it just won't go into gear. So this prevents the owner from burning up the parking brake on the bike. So it is on this bike a separate caliper of its own with its own pad system. So if you burn those up, you wouldn't affect the safety of the bike. So that was actually kind of a good thing Honda did. This bike is fitted with all of Traxxion Dynamics steering upgrades. So our stainless steel spindle, our steering safety pin, also has our TraxRite tie rod on the bike. And then of course, the most important part, the Traxxion Dynamics suspension front and rear. So our aftermarket upgraded shocks to provide the safest, most comfortable and compliant ride. We started out with a Corbin seat on this bike, but Corbin's default seat placement places the rider 2 inches backwards, and unless you're a basketball player, I don't know how you use it. It didn't make any sense to me. Couldn't reach the controls. This bike, we needed room for this gas tank. This bike is fitted with the Traxxion Dynamics trunk relocation kit, so it's set 1.5 inches backwards. As you can see, even with the stock saddle, it just fits in here actually perfectly. I placed it not close, I placed it perfectly. As you can see, these come up and just kiss when it's all the way open. The fuel tank is made by Fire Creek Accessories. They intend for you to drill into the plastic passenger grab rail handles. I was not having any of that, so we used our Traxxion Dynamics passenger grab rail base mount plates, and then we custom manufactured billet aluminum mounting kit for this that was then glass beaded and hard coat anodized black so that it matched the bike and wouldn't scratch up. It also allowed me to be able to place the tank slightly off of the saddle. So there's an air gap here, which accomplishes a few things. It's a nook for Chuck to hide something, but also if it rains, the seat won't get wet and moldy and such underneath with the gas tank sitting on it. The other thing it's very, very slick. It's exactly just enough high. I got it exactly just enough high enough that I can remove the saddle without bothering the auxiliary fuel system here. So this is 6 gallons of additional fuel over the stock 5 gallons. This is fitted with super nice quick disconnect fittings with dry brakes from Jiffy Tight. They are high pressure dry brakes and they are dual-sided dry brakes. So both sides of the line, when you separate them, are dry brake. This system is fed, it'll gravity feed into the stock vent line. So we've replaced the vent line on the stock fuel tank with this. Vent line here is fed backwards and comes up and vents out down to the rear of the motorcycle. And if something should happen to malfunction with the fuel system, I have come around here and I'll show you, I have a secondary venting system. So all the owner has to do is break this connection to the fuel tank. It will not spill any fluid. Zip tied here is a secondary vent line. He can just couple to that. The vent line is tucked up here into the trunk. And so if there were any odd malfunction with the fuel tank without changing anything, he can stop him with a pocket knife, cut that zip tie, connect the new vent line, and resume motion without anything, without any stoppage at all. The other thing we built, I found an odd kit. I built another fuel lanyard for this cap so that it couldn't be lost. I also didn't like the silver cap that was supposed to come with this gas tank, so I found this one on Amazon. I can get a link to that and show you. So I like the black. The guys at Buff Guys actually coated this fuel tank in the XPEL film, so I've actually stood on this. You know, it's quite sturdy and scratch proof. This way, when Chuck has baggage here, it won't scratch up the gas tank and look bad over time. We've also fitted it with our Traxxion Dynamics kickstand pad here, so that if you're on soft pavement on hot days or dirt, it gives you a much wider footprint for the side stand so the bike won't tip over. Hidden under the seat, miles and miles and miles of wiring that have all been put together into very highly detailed harnesses that look as close to possible as Honda put it there. We have an AmpLink power distribution module under the seat. So the AmpLink power distribution module pairs to your phone by a Bluetooth and allows you 6 circuits that you can choose any amperage on that you want them to be. You just select on your phone. You can have them turned on or off. So if you have one, we have some dedicated to heated clothing. If you're not using your heated clothing, you just turn that circuit off. There's no fuses. It's all watertight and sealed. It's a super premium product. I really, really like that a lot. We've got battery tending cables affixed to the bike so that he can charge. He's going to carry a small booster pack, lithium battery booster pack. If for some reason the battery ever ran down, he actually can just plug it right into that battery charger cable and it'll light the bike right off, no problem. And it also doubles as a flashlight and other battery power source. He's got Honda line carpets in the saddlebags. Here's the CB system, goes in here. It does take up a little space in your right bag, not a significant amount. For 2021, there is a specific, model-specific everything related to the trunk. So there's a model-specific CB antenna. This is a model-specific luggage rack. This was also sent out and powder coated because it's chrome. Why? Honda's got this beautiful blacked out bike and the only luggage rack they sell is chrome. So we had this powder coated black again by Miller's in Atlanta. So that took care of that. 2021 specific third brake light on the bike. Inside the trunk, did some cool things. Nice little hello to Chuck every day when he opens his trunk. This is the Honda line trunk organizer and Honda line trunk mat. You can see where we've got our kit to quick remove the trunk if you ever needed to or wanted to. Not for his mission here. This is a nice kit that I have installed that's 2 USB ports. One's high amperage and one's low, and the other is a 12 volt normal cigarette lighter accessory socket. This device here is a US fleet tracker, same kind of device you might find for actually tracking your automotive fleet or trucking fleet. This device actually knows where Chuck is within a couple of feet and actually knows which way he's pointed. So wherever this bike is parked, it knows his orientation even. So a really, really slick device. And I have that wired into the bike so that he can pigtail it and break it apart and put it on his other motorcycles he has if he uses it for other bikes. With the badging, again, I was going for, subtle. And so hopefully that, I feel like that got pulled off. I actually got the full understanding of what a Truex is last night. So we talked about iron butts, but when you ride the 4 corners of the United States, most people do it in a U fashion. What are the 4 corners? What are the?
Madawaska, Maine.
You can
Key
look
West,
at them.
Florida.
Yeah, Madawaska, Maine. Key West.
San Ysidro, California. Blaine, Washington.
Blaine, Washington. All right. So some people will do that in a U, and that's about 7,000 miles. But there's a place called Lebanon, Kansas. Lebanon, Kansas, right in the middle of America. And so what you do to do a true X is you go from Key West to the center of America and then out to the 4 points, then back to the other corner, then back to the other corner. So you actually create an X out of America, and that's 11,000 miles. That's how you get a true X. And so I've been explaining it wrong.
Danny Fox. So his name.
Approved by Danny Fox
Danny Fox is in charge of it.
And
at the SCMA, Southern California Motorcycle Association. All right. Now, of course, you can't miss hanging off the back here is a packet rack. So this has a Rivco trailer hitch the bike has on it, and it's the hidden hitch. So when it's not in use, you can actually pull a bolt and a pin up behind the fender and the whole thing disappears. This has a neat little a locking bar and a little tiny lock on it. So it's locked to the bike, has its own rain cover. And but a common thing you hear people talk about is they say, well, this blocks the view of the license plate. And if you're in the wrong town and you've got Barney Fife and his silver bullet in his pocket and he's itching to shoot, you know, he's coming after you. Well, we had a customer here yesterday. He said he heard about people photocopying their license plate. So I thought, well, that's not a bad idea. I'll do that and get it laminated. So what I came up with yesterday, I had a piece of steel sheared, and we drilled it, painted it, riveted it to the cover here. And then I went to get his license plate printed. And while I was at FedEx, they have a new kind of paper they can print on that is tear-proof and waterproof. This is actually a thin piece of plastic. So, and it goes through a normal printer. So I have a perfect high-resolution copy of his license plate, exact copy. And then I coated it with 3M spray adhesive, stuck it to the plate. It should be there forever, and waterproof and tear-proof. So kind of a cool thing. I did make some spares for him in case something goes wrong or that gets torn up. There's lots of little details, even like on this trailer hitch. I coated this with heat shrink so that it wouldn't clank. You know, little things, I hate noises. I don't like listening to clanky things, so I've heated that. He did get today some Gremlin bells, which are important, from his friend Todd Hendricks. So Todd came up with his own arrangement. So the first one is Fire, Hell, and Water. So this one is going to catch and collect the gremlins from the road, and then it's going to throw them to the rear of the motorcycle, where this grenade here will explode them and kill the gremlins. So that's Todd's system of protection for Chuck's bike. Let me see what else I've forgotten here. Then this is the new Gold Strike rear fender extension, and a kit. It fills in the gaps, these air gaps that let a lot of dirt and debris fly back and collect all over the back of the bike, and then extends this down and covers it, so it'll keep water and moisture down. I did my own slick modification to that, where I cut the fender in feathers, so that when he has either the packet rack or a trailer hitch, it'll just open the feathers it needs to, but when it's not in use, it'll close and still be sealed. So that was kind of cool. Another little hidden traction badge, and there is the rearward facing high resolution camera there. We do have the front fender extension forgot to mention on the front. Very popular item. Almost nobody should be without this. Honda should just make the fender longer. I don't know why they don't, but so the chin doesn't get wrecked on the bike. So there's that. I think that's probably it. For what I would talk about today, the number one question that will always happen at the end of one of these videos is, well, what does it cost? When we did the Envy bike, I never really got a total. I know what was spent in my shop, but you know, because the owner sourced so much of his own parts and sent them to me, and I never asked him, but I did ask Chuck, and Chuck was happy to says, hey, I share the price. This bike we found at Schroeder's Honda, or was ordered, and Jesse from Schroeder's Honda delivered this to us. He had a big bulk of the accessory stuff in that bundle, and of the parts that went on the bike. And then here at our shop, there was more accessories, our suspension and stuff that went on. But so the grand total, when all is said and done, a bike like this will be right around between $75,000 and $80,000. So there was, I think, 40,000 in parts in the motorcycle and the accessories at Schroeder's, and about 35,000 here at our shop. So there was 216 hours of labor in the bike. The number one question that will always happen at the end of one of these videos is, well, what does it cost? When we did the Envy bike, I never really got a total. I know what was spent in my shop, but you know, because the owner sourced so much of his own parts and sent them to me, and I just never asked him. But I did ask Chuck, and Chuck was happy to says, hey, I share the price. This bike we found at Schroeder's Honda, or was ordered, and Jesse from Schroeder's Honda delivered this to us. He had a big bulk of the accessory stuff in that bundle, and of the parts that went on the bike. And in here at our shop, there was more accessories, our suspension stuff that went on. But so the grand total, when all is said and done, a bike like this will be right around between $75,000 and $80,000. So there was 216 hours of labor in the bike. If you want a warhorse, that's what you would have to spend. I don't know of any other Goldwing like this. I've been around Goldwings since I was 15 years old. I'm 54. This is the most incredible Goldwing that I've ever seen or know of. And you know, hidden in this bike is everything I know about building a piece of machinery, and that I've learned in my lifetime. So much detail and care and effort went into prepping this bike and making it as safe and reliable as we could make it. Down to, I don't know if you can see this. This took a lot of effort, but there's an air gap between all of the wiring. There's so much wiring going up to the handlebars. To get that air gap in there so that no wires were touching or dragging the console took huge effort to get everything to lay right. So, you know, whenever you see a bike that's heavily accessorized, a lot of times it's the DIY stuff. There's just wires and mess hanging everywhere. It's just a disaster waiting to happen. And I wish I could show you this bike with the seat off, because it really is so clean, and it looks like Honda put it there. There'll be some video out there. I have gone video dark here on Chuck for about 3 weeks, because as the bike was progressing towards starting to go together, I kind of did the bride in the dressing room deal with him, where I said, hey, you know, you can't see her. She's getting dressed, so you can't see her until the wedding day. So today was our reveal this morning. We did some fun with that, and so now this is we're gonna get Chuck on it. And actually, this is the great comedy. This bike had 1 mile on it, 1 mile, and I did everything I could to preserve it at 1 mile. I personally have never driven this bike. I rode it down the I rode it down the loading ramp and out here to the trailer to take it to the detail shop. And as I was driving it from there to there, I said, oh my God, this thing had better not turn to 2. It can't. I was like, oh my God. So I got it on the trailer, and from that moment forward, we have pushed this bike everywhere. We have not driven it. We've pushed it up and down the hills and ramps. And today, rolling it from the shop, we started the engine. I've not even turned the engine on because because I was afraid it would count mileage. Come get a picture. Today, we're rolling it from the door to this spot where we put it. This damn thing turned to 2. I wanted him to get on the bike with it saying 1, and the damn thing says 2. So, I'm losing my mind. So, I won't be long before it reads 110,000. So he's going to cover 10 True X's back to back to back with only 1 day off in between. That's his mission. We wish him great success, and my work here is done. So my name's Max McAllister. Thanks for watching today. If you want one of these bikes, give me a few months off, because I got to go repair my marriage and get on my bicycle and lose this weight I've picked up because I haven't been exercising. And probably going to smoke a cigar tonight with the guys and have a bottle of wine and just relax and enjoy this bike. So I haven't really got to even sit back and look at it myself as a completed thing. So going over it is a real joy. And we're going to do a video shortly on how we came up with the name, because that was really a big deal. So in a moment, we'll do a video on that topic. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm close to 10,000 subscribers. And thanks for watching.